So as promised, I did want to take a look at a little bit of the homework for you and see if there was any problems I could help you with. And so I'm going to say, then let's take a look at number 11. And so now that I've written that y is really x to the negative 1 power, can you take the derivative of it? Y prime equals negative 1, x is to a new power, and that power is less by 1, right? Take away 1. So negative 1 minus 1 is a negative 2. And what would my final answer be? It is negative 1 over x is going to be squared. How about number, I think if I've done that one, you should be able to do number 12. For number 14, I said give you a hint. Let's try it. Let's see what happens if I actually do distribute. So x times x squared is x cubed, and x times 1 is x. And can you take the derivative of that? Oh, I sure hope so. G prime of x is 3x squared plus 1. Ta-da! All right, for number 17, I say I just made a video for that. Just x in the denominator. Watch that video, please, and I believe you'll be able to do that. Number 18 wasn't on my list, but I think I'm looking at it, and I feel like you might have forgotten how to deal with this as a function. Ready? F of x is really to the 1 over x to the 2/3 power. And I'm using this rule, a to the m. If I want to take the nth root of that, I get a to the m over n. So I'm leaving it in the denominator just so I can think about what that fraction power is. But now I'm going to bring it up into the numerator so that I can take the derivative of it. Cubed. Go ahead and try to take the derivative of it. Pause, and then you can come back. All right, so you're back. And I would take the derivative in the following way. Negative 2/3 x is, I've got to actually take away 1 from that power, so I'm going to do that real quick. Negative 2/3 minus 1 is the same thing as negative 2/3 minus 3/3 is the same thing as negative 5/3. So I'm going to have a negative 5/3 power. Can you leave it like that? Yes, but if you're doing multiple choice, what do you want to see as an answer? I want to see this, negative 2 with a 3, and I'm going to say that I have an x, and what was my root? It was 3. What was my power? It was 5. That's a terrible looking 5. 5. All right, now, find the indicated value or expression. I mentioned it, I said it, you could take the derivative twice. So take the derivative 2 times. Okay, so what if you take the derivative of something twice? Then what do you do with something like that? Well, after you take the derivative twice, you should go ahead and plug in 2. So I will actually do this one. This is 23, and I'm going to say that this is f of t equals 2 minus 2 times the power of t to the negative 1. Because there's a hidden invisible 1 here, and I know that's a negative exponent that created that fraction, so I'm moving it into a format where I could actually take the derivative of it. So the first derivative, f prime of t, will be, well, the derivative of 2 is 0, and I'm still writing it down for a while, and you feel free to write it down for a little while as well. Negative 1 times negative 1, because I had a power of negative 1, sorry, negative 2, my bad. I had a power of negative 1, and I had a negative 2 out in front. And then t is going to be reduced by 1, which should give me a negative 2 power. So my final answer will be 2 times t to the negative 2 power, which, again, you could rewrite at this point with the negative exponent, but shoot, don't I need to take the derivative again? So I am going to do that instead. So f prime of t is simplified in the following fashion, and I'm going to say that I can find the second derivative because it's in the perfect form for me to use the power rule. Ready? Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And then t is going to be reduced by yet another power. I'm starting to feel that pattern. I hope you guys are too. And then I have t to the negative 3rd power. So when I'm all done, this is the time for me to go ahead and put it into that new format where the negative exponent is gone. Okay, wait a minute. That wasn't what it asked for, is it? It said find the second derivative because there were 2 prime marks. But now it wants me to do what? It wants me to plug in f prime of 2. And what is f prime of 2? Well, negative 4 over 2 being cubed is going to end up being negative 4 over 8, which is the same thing as negative 1/2. That's a pretty easy slope to find. You're like, wow, that was a funky looking equation. Who would have guessed that I could end up with such a simple slope? But there you go. You can. So that was number 23, and I'm trying to zoom out here. Find the equation of the line that has the following characteristics. And trying to find a tangent here is a pretty nice idea. You will definitely need to do this on a test. So why don't I do 29, okay? And if I do 29, hopefully you'll be able to do all the rest. So 29, I was working on this derivative just a moment ago. I should feel really familiar. F of x equals 2 over x. And so the derivative, f prime of x. Well, I'll find the derivative in a second. Do you remember that this is really 2 times x to the negative 1 power? Yes? Okay, great. So the derivative is going to be, ready, 2 times negative 1. X is being taken to the negative 2 power. I just did this. You feeling it? The homework is not that hard if you remember that you literally just did a problem like this. So what are we going to do then? We're going to say that we have a negative 2 over x being squared. And if I'm looking for the tangent to the graph when x equals 1, doesn't that mean you should plug in 1? Okay, so I'm going to plug in 1. So I have f prime of 1, which is going to be negative 2 over, ready, 1 being squared, which is just negative 2. Now what did I find? Turns out that's the slope of the tangent that I wanted, okay? Now what I have here is I know what x is and I know what my slope is, but if I want to use my favorite formula, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. I'm in trouble because I know this and I know this. I don't know that. So if you want to, you could draw a little t-chart and say to yourself, hey, if I have this function f of x where I'm plugging in what happens when x is 1, you can just do it like this. 2 over 1 ends up being 2. So that is my x sub 1 and this is my y sub 1. And now I should be able to finish the whole equation. Y minus 2 equals negative 2 was my slope, and x minus 1 is where I'm looking for the equation of the tangent. Now that I've done 29, I want to mention to you that it's basically the same thing to find the normal, except what do you need to do to this slope? What do you need to do to find the normal? Isn't it the opposite reciprocal? All right, give it a try. See how it goes. So I am running out of time on my lunch. We'll try and take as many questions as we can tomorrow in class.